I voted for the guy. I voted for President Trump. Like, what, 75 million other Americans? It was awesome. I'm so glad he won. I've been supporting him. 77 million Americans. A total blowout. And it was awesome. It really was. And, the problems we have right now, I'm glad we have them. Who's going to get this job? Who's going to get that job? All that stuff. And I'm following it, and I'm interested, but I'm not as passionate, I got to delegate, right? We got to let him handle it. I voted for him. 77 million of us voted for him. We didn't vote for these other people, all right? We didn't. And that's okay. We're familiar with most of them. Most of them are great. Some are okay. Not everyone's going to make it. Matt Gaetz went down. I didn't like that at all. More on Matt in a moment. It's okay, right? We're MAGA, Make America Great Again. Is that like a monolith party? Can you only think one way and not another? Is Donald Trump infallible? Of course not. Nobody is. I mean, he is one of the least fallible people I ever met. He's like a prophet. It's amazing. But he's not perfect. No one is. And we bow, what does President Trump say? Not before any man, but before God. That's what the Democrats do, right? They bow before, well, whatever's fashionable. George Floyd, whatever will get them votes. Colin Kaepernick, the flag, whatever he was mad about, all that stuff. Now, we're independent, especially conservatives. We like free thinkers. We don't necessarily conform to, we conform to what we want to conform to. We're not China. Ever been there? Neither have I. Well, I've been to Hong Kong. That kind of counts. Ruthless, uniform, everybody the same way. Party, discipline. They are so serious about that. If you step out of line, you're in trouble. All right. Again, I love Trump. I love the policies. I love the style. I consider him a friend. He has given me personal advice that has been incredibly valuable. He is so insightful. And he knows, and I know, and you know, that he's not perfect. He'll admit when he makes a mistake, like Milley. Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he appointed him to that job. And he turned out to be a disaster. He turned out to be mutinous. I don't blame Donald Trump for that. I blame him for that. The man was lying to Trump's face every step of the way to get that job. He lied to the American people, Milley did. He's not Superman. He's not President Trump. We know that. He is pretty damn close, though. I'm taking this somewhere. First, back to Matt Gaetz. I was really, really sorry to see him not get Attorney General, but I also know he's going to be okay. He's going to be great. One of the reasons why I was sorry to see him go down, I really think he earned it. He would have been a great Attorney General. He's great for MAGA, the Make America Great Again movement. He's done a lot. He has owned the Democrats. General Milley, Merrick Garland, exposing their corruption, defending President Trump during the impeachment. This is the kind of stuff that you do. And I don't believe one word of those accusations. No. It was a smear, and it was deliberate. There's a whole weirdo backstory that has nothing he did was wrong. Washington is a tough place. He's going to be back. In the meantime, this is some of the stuff I'm going to miss about him.
Don't you see that that's kind of the thing, Director Wray, that you preside over the FBI that has the lowest level of trust in the FBI's history? People trusted the FBI more when J. Edgar Hoover was running the place than when you are. And the reason is because you don't give straight answers. You give answers that later a court deems aren't true. And then at the end of the day, you won't criticize an obvious shakedown when it's directly in front of us. And it appears as though you're whitewashing the conduct of corrupt people.
Respectfully, Congressman, in your home state of Florida, the number of people applying to come work for us and devote their lives working for us is up over 100%.
We're deeply proud of them, and they deserve better than you.
Damn. And not just viral moments. He does the hard work of investigation, of legislating. He didn't make it. He didn't even make it to the hearing. I know he's going to be okay, and so is MAGA. Pam Bondi was chosen, right? Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of Florida. She is so ready for that job. She's going to be great. And so is Matt Gaetz, whatever he does. Did you see what his wife tweeted? The day he got had to withdraw unemployment, never looked so good. Look at him. He's like James Bond ordering a shaken not stirred martini, something or other. And that brings me to Pete Hegseth. You know what? This is MAGA. Are we going to be like China? Are we going to be like the Democrats? If you step out of line, ooh, they're going to hurt you so bad. They're going to primary you. They're going to audit you. They're going to. Pete Hegseth is no Matt Gaetz. He hasn't done nearly enough for MAGA to warrant the Department of Defense job. And he's got serious baggage. Serious baggage. It happens sometimes. Not every pick is perfect. Where do I get this stuff, by the way? Not from the fake news, but from this guy. Tim Parlatore is Hegseth's attorney, and he's been making all kinds of statements that I don't think are particularly helpful to Tim Hegseth, like confirming everything in the New York Times story, and it's just... So he's putting out some information himself. And the email from the mom to Pete in 2018 made some people upset, right? Well, Steve Doocy read from it today, right in front of Pete Hegseth's mother.
I'm going to read part of it. You say, this is to Pete, during the 2018 divorce. You say, I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, and sleeps around. And you go on and say, you are that man and have been for years. And as your mother, it pains me and embarrasses me to say that, but it is a sad, sad truth. You say, we still love you, but we are broken by your behavior and your lack of character.
That's intense stuff. His former employers, right? Reading it right there to the mother. And she was great. Let's hear what she has to say.
But Pete is a new person. He's redeemed, forgiven, changed. I think we all are after 7 years. He's a changed man, and I just hope people will get to know who Pete is today, especially our dear female senators, that you would listen to him, listen with your heart to the truth of Pete.
Really nice, right? But there are some problems here. Sorry, big time. According to Pete's lawyer, Pete is blackmailable. 2 years before that email was sent, Pete Hegseth was conferring with President Trump at Trump Tower about high-level political appointments, maybe even as Secretary of Veterans Affairs. He was at the Trump Tower, he had that conversation, and that's fine, right? But 2 years later, he is blackmailed by a woman who falsely accuses him, but he pays money to her anyway. Is he a new man? Anybody can be forgiven. I know that. I know that. If you ask for forgiveness, of course. Is Hunter Biden a new man? Okay, is he? That laptop came to light in 2018. Is everything on that laptop? When I go to that email, okay, yeah, go to the email. I also went to his text messages, folks. I did. A lot of folks are saying also that, well, how about Trump? He was married 3 times and this, that, and the other thing. Trump. Let's talk about Trump, right? We've been vetting the guy for 40 years. We know him. We voted for him. 77 million people. The scrutiny, years and years, 4 years if you add it up, of running for president, being president, and all the years before. I think we know everything about this guy. Pete Hegseth, most of us met him just the other day, and it's great that he served in the military. And let's talk about the military service. When you're in the military, there are unique rules. The Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's a special kind of set of laws that govern people in uniform. And one of them pertains to adultery. Now, a lot of folks think adultery is, oh, that's quaint. They should take that law off the books. In the military, adultery, yeah, it can be punishable by a dishonorable discharge, forfeiture of pay. You can get in all kinds of trouble for having those kinds of relations. Okay, folks? Now, well, why? New York State just took it off the books. Why doesn't the military? I'll tell you why the military doesn't. Because the military is unique. You go away to sea for 6 months, 9 months. You say goodbye to your loved ones, your girlfriends, your wife, your husbands these days. And you leave them on base, sometimes with 40,000 other guys and girls. You know what I'm getting at, right? Okay, things happen. Things happen, even with it against the law. So with Pete, who has told people quite openly that he's not good at being married, that's a situation for the folks in uniform. I speak from experience. Number one, I made a hell of a lot of mistakes. I am no angel, but I'm also not the nominee for Secretary of Defense, nor would I be, all right? No, I can't. I understand that. I can deal with that. I was on the military for 9 years active duty. Iraq, flew over during Operation Southern Watch. Went back as a journalist. I know the culture. I know what flies, and I know what doesn't. Now, if I were a United States Senator, I won't be the Secretary of Defense, but you never know, right? Pete Hegseth shows up for his confirmation hearings, if he makes it to the confirmation hearings. Where has he been thus far? He spent the bulk of his, last 9 years or so on that couch, right? On the Fox and Friends couch. And that's great. That's a great gig. Back in the day, I did that job. In fact, I interviewed Pete Hegseth a number of times to learn how much he supported the war in Iraq. What a great idea that was. He wasn't the only one. A lot of people made that mistakes. He calls himself a recovering neocon. But if I were talking to Pete Hegseth as a United States Senator, I would want to know more about his journalism career. I would ask him, so you were the anchor of Fox and Friends for 9 years. Tell me about the most important January 6th story you ever did. Have you ever done anything about January 6th? Have you ever done anything about Ashley Babbitt? Have you gone deep with Ashley Babbitt? Have you gone there? What about when Fox News called Arizona, 20 minutes after the polls closed, and changed the course of history? Did you repeat that claim the next day? Were you on the set? So if anybody gets a little bit fatigued about the truth that we utter here, I'll remind you, we're special, and we're better than Fox. And Pete Hegseth, by the way, is better than any of the worst things he's ever done, and redemption is available. But I am so proud of this show, and I am proud of Newsmax. Routinely, we interview January 6 prisoners while they're in prison, if you don't mind. One after the next after the next. We do it all the time. We love these guys. They are unfairly incarcerated. I've interviewed Ryan Nichols. I've interviewed about a dozen of these guys, on and on and on. These guys, in my book, some of them are MAGA royalty. And they have been abandoned by Fox News. Don't you ever forget that. MAGA royalty is Aaron Babbitt. Aaron Babbitt has become a friend. I so respect him. May I see Aaron Babbitt? We're going to make... Aaron is a great guy, and he's waging a fight against the federal government. His family deserves compensation. There's a big debate about reparations for slavery. How about what this guy lost? An unarmed woman, his wife, Ashley Babbitt. Did Pete Hegseth do some big deep dives on Ashley Babbitt and Aaron? From what I know, Tucker Carlson got fired for talking about her too much. So MAGA, I think, can be a big tent, all right? You don't have to be passionate about January 6 issues. You don't have to be passionate about election integrity, but you got to be passionate about something, right? Are you passionate about the right things, Pete Hegseth? I wonder.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.